Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
On this program, if you are offended by the things I say, can you imagine the stuff I hold back? Good morning, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Here comes Kate Smith, and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot. Come on, call in, Patriots, with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on. And a good morning to you on this Tuesday, the first Tuesday of December, the 3rd, and we're welcoming you to stay with us for the next 3 hours on Zeb at the Ranch, and brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires to get you through all the wintertime driving. And don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And our friends at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living, 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jeff, thank you for calling in this morning. I appreciate it. God bless you. And like we are going to say every day, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas to you. And can't go to lunch bunch anymore. They changed my days off, so at least I'll call in for the pledge once.
I'll look forward to it, my friend. Thank you. And right now, let's go to the weather forecast brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Hello, Roger and the crew over there on the Burley Paul Highway. They've got the best of tools and equipment to finish any kind of a construction project. And also a reminder for the holiday season, if you got a lot of people coming by, they've got the snakes for your drains so you don't have any problems when you have company, if you get my drift. And, of course, don't forget, too, they've got all the tools and equipment at long and short-term rentals. So get a hold of them today. K&R Rental on the Burley Paul Highway, 678-3122. And right now, here's the weather.
Relatively mild conditions for the rest of this week until we get to the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly cloudy skies, but we might see a few rays of sunshine by this afternoon. It's going to be nice and calm with a high of about 40 tonight. The clouds are going to be rolling back in. We are expecting a low of 23. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies with a high of 40, mostly cloudy for tomorrow night. Expecting a low right around 21. Winds are going to be picking up out of the east. For Thursday, mostly cloudy skies, high of 38. Overnight low of 23. Clouds are going to stick around for Friday with a high of 42. Friday night, we do have a slight chance of snow showers in the overnight hours. Mostly cloudy skies with a low of about 26. Saturday, we do have a 50% chance of precipitation, rain and snow mix. And we are expecting a high of 42. Then by Sunday, slight chance of snow, cloudy with a high near 40. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Wow, we got a kind of a mixed bag of treats right there for the weather forecast over the next couple of days, but we'll take whatever is given. Good morning. K&R Rental brings you the weather at 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Again, I want to remind you, if you're not sure what you need for tools and equipment, call Roger and the crew, 678-3122. They can and will help you at K&R Rental on the Burley Paul Highway. Want to remind you that Thursday is sale day. Thursday sale day at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, with Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy. Don't forget, this is the sale that works for you. Probably going to be about 10 o'clock starting time. We'll tell you on Thursday what that's going to be with all the cattle run that we'll have on Thursday. Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Sale this Thursday, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Don't you miss it. Also want to acknowledge and thank some people that have ridden the horse with us for a long, long time on this program, and that's, of course, our friends at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. I have been taking my Wranglers and my shirts and sports jackets, everything in there, for more years than I can remember, and they always come back looking brand spanking new. And by the way, if you don't have time to do your own washing, they will wash, dry, fold, and iron all your clothes, just like Mommy used to, at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Stop in and see them today. Caller, I'll be right with you, I promise. I've just got to get one more good word on, and that, of course, is about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. I'm going to cough, so if I do, I apologize. This cold won't leave me alone. They're open 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday, and they literally have all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and the best of people to serve you. And they do serve you, as they have for almost 7 decades. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. The menu for the Burley Senior Center today is chicken and a bell pepper. I can't remember what they call it, but anyway, it's going to be good. And all the goodies that go with lunch. Also, I want to remind people that on December 12th, they're having a prime rib dinner. There's only 75 tickets, so you have to get in and get them ahead of time. $15 for single and $25 for double.
All right. By the way, Joe, I do know what they call that, chicken and a pepper.
All right.
It's called chicken and a pepper. Have a great day.
It's something new to me, but they promise to be good. The lunches are always good at the senior center. We need you.
All right, it's only $5, and I urge everybody to stop over to the Senior Center on Overland in Burley. Joe Taylor, God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good guy right there. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Poor Deanne and I, and hers ended a couple of days ago, but this cold will not leave me alone. And I know a lot of people out there in the audience that are sitting there going, I know what you mean. I've had this doggone cold and coughing and sneezing for a long time. Seems like it's been a year. Well, I guarantee you, it just seems that way. It just won't leave you. Want to remind you about our friends over at Ark Animal Hospital, and they really are your friends too, and I'll tell you why. They take care of your animals when there's a sickness, or if they need their injections and shots and they need all their vaccinations, or if there's been a cut. Hey, don't put it off. Call the best. Let them work for you to help your animals stay healthy. And that's Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. They do. Honestly, Dr. Bill and the rest of the crew, they really care. And they've got warm hearts for cold noses. Cold noses now in this time of the year. And the number to call, 678-1177, Ark Animal Hospital. And another guy that we want to mention, and he does a tremendous job, and that's, of course, our friends at Rick and the crew at Mountain Transmissions, at 504 East Main Street in Burley. Your transmission, you put it in drive the other day and backed up and hit another car. Son of a gun. I'm telling you, you better get that transmission fixed. Free estimates and free diagnosis at Mountain Transmissions. Rick can help you. Merry Christmas, he says, at 678-9110. Isn't it absolutely ridiculous out there in Radio Land? Silly, and yes, stupid, I'm going to use that word, that here our president, right now this morning, this very moment, is in London negotiating for a better NATO and working with leaders for a better world, a more secure world, a safer world, a better economic world. And here at home, the half-baked Democrats are trying to impeach him. For what? You know, all through these hearings, all through the Mueller report, all through the last 3 years, if somebody out in the audience can call me up and just say, well, he did this, and he did that, and have verified facts to back up their statement and their allegations, I would be the first to apologize and say, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. It's not there. Here is our president on the world stage, and he is the most prominent on the world stage, and the silly, demented Democrats are like rabid dogs right here in our country trying to destroy a presidency that they never accepted. It is absolutely one four-letter word. It's dumb. And it's not verified. There's no substantiation to anything. And I got to mention this, too, about being absolutely crazy times. Hang on, I'll do a couple of commercials, and then I want to talk about something that just really, it bakes the buns, let me tell you. I'm a little bit upset about this morning. I want to talk to you about, talk about food. Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley, and they've got the best of menu choices for breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time, all the desserts, great people serving you. Well, what more could you possibly want? You just get in there, they're waiting for you. You like breakfast like I do? Look at the menu choices you're going to enjoy at Denny's Restaurant. It's America's Diner. Yep. They've got locations at 611 North Overland in Burley. We're going to have our big Christmas party over there on December 19th. Don't miss it. We'll be broadcasting live. And another one at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Real quick word, too, about Dino's Septic Service. You know, they do the job that you and I do not want to do. You don't want to be out there. I mean, when you got a problem with a septic tank that needs pumping or sewer and sink drain lines clean, you don't want to do it. No. So get the people that do, and they do it with a smile on their face. Fast, fair, friendly service at Dino's Septic Service. They are the best at what they do. 678-1638 and 436-6526. You betcha, with that big truck. I was impressed, that sign on the side of the truck that says, smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service. You get a hold of them this morning. It is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now, think about this. That people right this moment in Hong Kong are willing to put their lives on the line. They are absolutely ready and willing, and have been, standing up to the absolute bully forces of the evil Chinese government in trying to have more freedom. Freedom. And in Iran, people are being shot and killed right this minute. These atrocities are happening right this minute from people that are trying to get freedom. But, underline the word but, stupid, naive, treasonous liberals in this country are trying to throw out our freedoms. Oh, well, we don't like that First Amendment. We're going to have to work on that a little bit. Curtail your freedom of speech and other freedom. Oh, boy, and that Second Amendment. Why, we've got to take away their guns. Why, they might turn into insurrectionists, and they're evil people out there. Why, we can't have them going hunting. This is so insane to me that the United States and President Trump has sent word over to the Hong Kong freedom fighters of congratulations, keep going, we're behind you. But yet here in this country, it amazes me that we're supporting people in other parts of the country, but we turn a deaf ear and a blind eye to the jackasses that we have in this country. What are your thoughts? I mean, call me, please. Yesterday, it was a barren wasteland of not having very many people call. Can't have that. Got to have you call. Please, be a part of the program. That's why I'm doing this. If we don't get the calls, I can guarantee you at my age, we'll sit on the back porch and count the seagulls flying over. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to remind you, Merry Christmas wishes go out from Senator Kelly Anthon. There is a straight shooter. I'll tell you what, he knows what's going on. And District 27 and the state of Idaho, very fortunate to have him as a state senator. And he's thankful for everybody that voted for him, and he wishes you and your family a very, very Merry Christmas. And a gentleman that we had on our program yesterday, and he is absolutely an encyclopedia of knowledge about what's going on in the state, what has to be done in the state, what needs to be done in the state, and that's Representative Fred Wood from District 27, Seat B. And he also, along with his family, wants to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Last but not least, the John Wayne, the cowboy rancher up in Oakley, that also is the representative of District 27, Seat A, and Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke. And, of course, his family says to you and yours, Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Calls welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Do you look at this thing the way I do, that here we have people that are in Hong Kong and they're being beaten, and they're being dragged through the streets by their hair, and they're being shot, and they're being tear gassed and everything else, trying to get freedoms. And in Iran, this is a very, very shaky situation over in Iran. And those people, many of which sorrowfully have died and been shot. And there was a video of a tape of a young man that had just conducted an interview, and seconds later, one of the police walked up and just shot him in the head. And these people are fighting for freedom, and here in this country, with all the freedoms available to us, we have people that are trying to turn it around and go towards socialism and decline and throw away our freedoms. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Love to hear from you. Boy, would I like to. Later on this morning, we're going to give away ham. We started it yesterday, and that might be some incentive for you to give me a call. Yeah, myself, Zeb at the Ranch, and your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Center is going to give you a ham if you can answer a trivia question, and we're going to have that coming up, I believe, next hour. And we'll look forward to asking you a trivia question and see if you can win. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Joe Biden was on television again last night and on the news again last night. And I really, honestly, folks out there in Radio Land, do you get the same kind of a creepy, kind of a, ooh, make your skin crawl feeling now that you have heard so much about Joe Biden and what happens behind the scenes? I mean, come on. Here's a guy that was talking to a crowd to try to get him elected as president of the United States, and he starts talking about his leg hair. And when he was a lifeguard, he had really hairy legs, and the kids would come up while he's standing on his little platform as a lifeguard, and they would play with the hair on his legs. That's creepy enough, but then there's a picture showing his wife Jill introducing him at a speaking event and she holds out her hand, and he sticks one of her fingers in his mouth. Caller, help me out, please. Good morning.
I'm not going to help you that way. The reason nobody's listening to you anymore is because 7 to 8, the radio's so poor that they turn the radio off.
Oh, I doubt that's the truth.
Well, I don't. I turn mine off.
Well, 7 to 8, I'm not on the air.
On the radio at 7 to 8, you can't hear anything, so you shut it off.
Well, I'll tell you what, we will call management, and we will find out what's the matter, and why do you say it? Is the quality or the technical ability not there? Why do you turn it off? Static. Okay.
And as soon as you come on, you're just as clear and pretty as can be, but it's 7 to 8, it's so staticky you can't hear it. It start out good for a little bit, and then once it goes bad and you can't hear it, so I just shut my radio off.
Well, then just set an alarm so that it comes on at 8 o'clock. Forget that other stuff and tune in. And I'll tell you something that I take a little bit of difference with you when you said I come in really pretty. I don't think the word pretty and me go in the same sentence.
Well, you come I mean, you come in good. Okay, Zeb.
Hey, God bless you, man. Thanks a lot. Merry Christmas to you. Okay. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe Wheels knows. Wheels, what's the matter between 7 and 8? Why you got all the static on the air? What's going on?
You know, I'm not even here at 7, but I am here for the show at 8, so I couldn't really tell you, sir.
Well, then we'll just have everybody forget the early part and just turn the alarm on for 8 o'clock. All right. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call. Barry Equipment and Rental. Oh, my goodness sakes. Sales, service, and parts. And they've got 3 locations, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. And I'll tell you what, if you've got jobs that need lifting, digging, pushing, carrying, whatever, they've got the equipment to get the job done. They've got all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators. They got all the Bobcats. They've got it all. And they've got fantastic lease agreements, and they've got purchase agreements. I'm telling you, you better get in there and check it out today. Whether you're buying or leasing, they can help you at Barry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. You stop in and see them today. All right, come on, callers. Turn your radios on and be a part of the program. I'd love to have you call in. You know, I'm not doing this for my health, I'll tell you that, but we're trying to provide a service of going over all the news and have some of the top guests on this program, and that's why I wish you would be a part of it. So give us a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Darn cough. Hey, don't forget, next Monday, December 9th, at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 11 o'clock in the morning, great big annual bred stock cow sale, and they are going to have about 1,000 head of really, really good heifers and cows of all ages. Mostly are going to be single iron cows, and they've already got like about 450 head of solid mouth cows, and they got 50 head of bred Corriente cows. Oh, this is a good sale, great sale to put together a good string of cattle for this next year. Call Cade Rogge at 431-0074 or Merv May at 431-5735. Next Monday, December 9th at the Burley Livestock Sale, 11 a.m., they're going to have their special bred stock cow sale. Be there. All right, your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One of the comments that Joe Biden made yesterday, he was standing up in front of a group of people, and they had it on the news last night, and Joe is starting to lose a lot of common sense. And caller, stay right there. I'll be right with you, I promise. He said one of his gibberish-like statements was, they know, and they know that I know. Ay, ay, ay. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
What's going on?
Oh, just had to go to the doctor yesterday.
Well, how's your hand?
Oh, it's feeling better. It doesn't hurt as bad now as it did before the operation, so that's a plus.
Well, that's good. Just don't go shutting it in any car doors.
I know.
I did that, and I'm saying that facetiously to you, but it's very serious. It's been 10, 15 years ago, I broke my little finger on my right hand roping, and I had it all taped up, and everything. And what do you think I shut in the car door?
Little finger.
Yeah, perfect shot.
That's me, the back of my hand. I scraped it the other day and started bleeding. I thought I'd tore my sutures out, but no, it was a little below it. And go to the doctor yesterday, blood all over the gauze. What did you do? Oh, a little scratch.
Yeah, a little scratch. And really, when a guy on crutches shuts his hand in the car door, you can't just go anywhere. The other hand's on a crutch, and your other hand's in the door, and you're kind of at the mercy of somebody. Please come unlock my hand.
That's a point. I didn't think about that.
It's a true story, too. I stood there, and I had nowhere to go. I was just kind of taking up place on the street. Anyway, what's cooking with you?
Oh, these Democrats, they're showing their hand, and personally, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot. And they know they've shot themselves in the foot, so now they're trying to minimize the damage, but they just keep going. Have you ever seen that joke years ago? Shows these two guys holding these plans for this building, and they're looking down in a deep, 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 deep hole. And one of them hollers down there, "You got the plans upside down."
I had never seen that. But honestly, I'm a little older than you, but not much. I know you're still wearing short pants. But excuse me for coughing in your ear. I have never seen a chasm or a divide that is in this country right now, Republican versus Democrat, and then you can throw in the independents on each side of the pile if you wish. And I don't see it getting any better. I don't see anything changing before 2020, and I really hope and pray that Trump wins the election in 2020. This country cannot withstand the onslaught of the Democratic ideas as to how they want to change this nation. But I don't see this ending if he gets re-election. I see this as a continuation of a bunch of spoiled brats that didn't get their way.
You nailed it right there, spoiled brats. They've had a gravy train for the last 50 years. Ever since JFK, the Democrat Party has gone downhill.
Yep.
And they've had a gravy train back there. Republicans, listen up, you too. You guys have had a gravy train. It's a good old boys club. Let's take care of us and we'll screw the taxpayers. And that's what's been going on. President Trump has come in with no political experience, getting things done and exposing them, and they don't like it. They're about to lose their gravy train, and they're upset. So when you take a spoiled kid that you've never corrected, he turns teenager, and you start enforcing some rules, they are going to rebel, and rebel heavily.
Well,
and that's what's going on.
I'm really not as mad at the legislators of the Democratic Party as I am their constituents. If I lived in the district of Adam Schiff or Swalwell or any of these people, I would be going to the hardware store and buying pitchforks and marching right to their office and demanding that they retire from office. It's the American public that's become naive and blasé.
And that's what they count on. That's what they live on, is the people become, like you say, uninformed, don't care about politics, just listen to one side.
Yeah.
They don't research anything. They do not look at opposing views. That's our colleges nowadays. They don't like opposing views. So the government has raised, because they're in control of the schools and what gets taught, the government has raised a group of people that they control. That
Well,
do not
like opposing ideas because it hurts their feelings.
We'll go back to what I said earlier, and I'm going to take a minute and discuss this with you, and other calls welcome. But it's absolutely the truth. After watching the news and studying the news last night and seeing the people in Hong Kong so committed to putting their lives on the line for their families and their future, fighting for freedom, the people in Iran being shot and killed as they fight for freedom, and then, as I said earlier, and I don't back up from my verbiage, the jackasses in this country that are trying to throw our freedoms away.
Exactly. I seen a picture on the internet the other day, and it showed Antifa in Portland, Oregon, fighting against the First Amendment, and all this stuff. And then the people from Hong Kong, and the guy from Hong Kong calls that Antifa an idiot.
Yeah. I'm just shocked that this country is allowing our demise. And when I say allowing, back in the old days, and I go back to the old days, as I say at the end of the program, the way things were, the way things ought to be, my granddad, my grandmothers, or even my mom and dad, they would have never allowed this sinister approach to overthrow that's happening in this country. The kids, the millennials, the not working, the not being responsible, the people that are trying to take away our First and Second Amendments and destroy our Constitution. We've become so blasé that we won't do anything to help protect what really has been given to us.
Exactly. And it's been given to us at a heavy, heavy price.
Amen.
I mean, there's been a lot of people, a lot of family members have lost loved ones, so we can have the freedoms we have.
Do they not see the correlation of bodies laying in the streets in Hong Kong or in Iran? Don't they see the correlation of these people are dying for freedom, and here we're trying to throw it away and throw it in a trash barrel?
Okay. I'll tell you why they don't see it. Mainstream media will not cover that.
Yeah.
They will not show that. These people that just get their news from CNN, MSNBC, and mainstream media, New York Times, and all that are uninformed.
Absolutely. I know that you want to give a plug to the seniors this morning, and I would urge you to do so. So go ahead quickly.
Yeah, one more quote. There was one guy that said, I can't remember who it was, said, if you read a newspaper, you're uninformed. No, you're misinformed. If you do not read it, you're uninformed.
There you go.
It's a holiday season. It's time of giving. But we need to have giving 12 months out of the year. So let's support our senior centers. Go talk to them. Find out where they bank. Go to your bank and have them transfer a little bit every month over to that bank. Just a little monthly, $5-10. If 100 people done $10, that's $1,000 a month to a senior center to help with Meals on Wheels.
Absolutely.
A good shot in the arm.
All right. Well, listen, my good friend, take care of your hand and don't shut it in the car door. God bless you, man. Thanks so much.
God bless you.
All right. Take care. Want to remind you, and boy, Doug broke the ice. Come on, folks, give me a call, 436-2244. This Saturday over at Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert. What a fantastic store. They're going to have their first Saturday of the month sale for this month of December. Yeah, buddy, all the ornaments, including custom-made ornaments, will be on sale. They'll be open 10 to 5, and they've got hand-painted customization available. You better stop over. This store really intrigues me. They are wonderful, wonderful people, and they've got so much for you to go in and see and browse and buy, quite frankly, at Nicole Pratt's Mad River Laser. It's a wonderful store, 502 East Street in Rupert. Stop over this Saturday. Want to also remind you about some other good folks, and that's, of course, Anderson Farms and Jones Commodities. They want to wish everybody out there a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year. And they want to remind you to drive safely. And remember, if you're looking for an employment change or maybe looking for a job for the new year, don't hesitate to call them. Once again, Merry Christmas from Anderson Farms and Jones Commodities. And there's job opportunities for you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you that one of the most repulsive politicians of all time of all time in the United States is John Kerry. Maybe you don't agree, but this shovel-faced man that absolutely threw our military and his former military veterans under the bus is in the fray again and proving that he is not the most intelligent spoke in the wheel. Mr. Ketchup, of course, with his marriage into the Heinz Ketchup family, said climate change is as dangerous as World War II and the Nazis. This is the kind of inflammatory rhetoric that is absolutely stupid. Stupid. I had a doctor on the air yesterday, Dr. Jay Lair, and a very well-known, prominent scientist that has debunked and thrown out most all of the idiocy based around climate change. Now, as a matter of fact, he was talking about speaking in front of a large group of people this past couple of weeks, to where after and he was the only one that was anti-climate change, and after his speech was over, almost 80 to 90% of the room was on his side, understanding that climate change is nothing but a hoax and only for control. Kerry comes out and said, we need to mobilize an army to fight climate change. Now, would you please, in the audience, help me a little bit? We need to mobilize an army to fight climate change? Who, how, and what are you thinking about, John Kerry? Are you thinking about mobilizing an army and going from house to house and saying, your thermostat is at 72 and we don't want you to be any warmer than 65, and we're not going to have you do this, that, or the other. You must adhere to our strict compliance of our rules, the way we want you to heat your house and your carbon footprint and everything. That's what it sounds like to me. Kind of a Gestapo attitude to make everybody conform to what these people are saying. Believers in climate change, and I have not very much good to say about them because they are control freaks that really are not very well educated. Case in point, some of the op-eds that have appeared in our own local newspaper, if you want to call it that. And they've got an extreme ego problem of needing to be in the spotlight and saying what they think the left and their loonies want to hear. But when it comes right down to education and making statements that really mean something, they can't do it. They're all in lockstep with each other. And after listening to Dr. Lair yesterday on the program, and he's going to be back on the show again in a couple of weeks, just absolutely debunking and throwing in the garbage the lunacy that they try to promote that we're all going to burn up in 12 years. That's idiocy. And nothing more than a control freak atmosphere to get people to just jump on their bandwagon of control. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We'll do the weather forecast. Gee, I'm having fun talking to people. Don't forget that our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, urge you to call them for a hearing screening. Call them at 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957, and schedule your hearing evaluation today. Don't miss anything of all your family gathered around at Christmas time. Make sure they can help you, and they will help you at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Once again, that number, 312-0957. Right now, here's the weather.
Relatively mild conditions for the rest of this week until we get to the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly cloudy skies, but we might see a few rays of sunshine by this afternoon. It's going to be nice and calm with a high of about 40 tonight. The clouds are going to be rolling back in. We are expecting a low of 23. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies with a high of 40, mostly cloudy for tomorrow night. Expecting a low right around 21. Winds are going to be picking up out of the east. For Thursday, mostly cloudy skies, high of 38, overnight low of 23. Clouds are going to stick around for Friday with a high of 42. Friday night, we do have a slight chance of snow showers in the overnight hours, mostly cloudy skies with a low of about 26. Saturday, we do have a 50% chance of precipitation, rain, and snow mix. And we are expecting a high of 42. Then by Sunday, slight chance of snow, cloudy with a high near 40. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Rain.
I appreciate it, Gina. She does a phenomenal job on our weather forecast. Thank you. And brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they continue to grow to serve the community better, and that means serving you better. Call them for a hearing screening today at 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Boy, I'd love to hear the moo of that cow right now. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you, Merry Christmas wishes from Rain for Rent over in Paul, Scows in Burley and Rupert. Merry Christmas. And, of course, Merry Christmas wishes from Save on Shells right there in Burley on Overland and Dairy Queen in Burley. All of them wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Love this time of year. Favorite time of the year to gather around, and I even enjoy going shopping. I don't tell Deanne that, but I even enjoy going shopping at Christmas time because, we get a chance to see all the lights and everything, and you probably see a lot of people you haven't seen for a long time, and all the husbands can kind of band together and say, boy, I hate this shopping, don't you? Yeah, brother, I'll tell you. Anyway, you can complain together, but still it's a great time of the year. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I ran across a story I want to share with you, and it was about Jeremy Statt. Now, maybe you don't know who Jeremy Statt is. He's a Marine veteran and a former NFL player that he only had a chance to play about 31 games in the NFL and then was injured. But now he is running for a congressional candidacy in the state of California. Remember the name, Jeremy Statt. Well, he came out over the last couple of days, and believe me, he is not a fan of former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick and all the antics of taking a knee and denigrating the United States and denigrating our police and denigrating our military. And Jeremy Statt just absolutely said that he is sick and tired of people like Kaepernick that are pulling and using the racism and victim card in the United States. What prompted all this, and I didn't know this had happened on Thanksgiving Day, but Colin Kaepernick had got together with a whole bunch of indigenous people that wanted to have a small little revolution on Thanksgiving Day against our Thanksgiving. And they called it the Un-Thanksgiving Day. And you know where they held it? Good place for them. On Alcatraz Island. Yep, no kidding. And Kaepernick gets up there and he's railing against the United States, railing against the way that we've done things for the last 250 plus years, railing against our government, railing against our Constitution, and then saying things like, the United States stole 1.5 billion with a B, billion acres from the people that lived here first. They stole the land. I am so sick and tired of these muckrakers. I am so sick and tired of these dividers. I am so sick and tired of someone like Colin Kaepernick that had so many things handed to him on a silver platter, and then instead of taking the food off the platter, he turned around and bit the arm of the person holding it. And then, of all things, this guy, Kaepernick, he had a chance to have the NFL maybe welcome him back into the graces of their organization, and he bit the hand that fed him again. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Yeah, everybody, the United States
been the most generous to give foreign aid to hundreds of nations. Well, actually, there's 194, I think, in the United Nations, and a lot of them get some kind of aid one way or another from the United States. And Trump is basically saying, look, like in NATO, we've been pulling all the freight. You guys have just been freeloaders.
Yep.
Now it's your turn to step up to the plate and pay your part of it. But, oh, man, that went over like a lead balloon.
Yeah, but wait a minute, Adrian. I'm short on time, and I want to agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. The reason that people don't like Trump, and they said over there in France that his approval ratings are like 18%, the reason they don't like him is because he's telling the truth. He's telling Macron and other people of NATO, hey, listen, why should we, 6,000 miles away, take care of your problems in NATO when you won't help supply the money and the manpower to take care of yourselves? It's about time somebody kicked those people in the seat of their Wranglers.
Well, absolutely. They've been freeloaders, and as long as we've been willing to pick up the tab, and basically be the defense for the world, so to speak, and we don't have the manpower and the blood to be able to do that. That's why we're $23 trillion in debt.
Yep, got it.
Because we've been doing all this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, I'm on Trump's side. I don't care if he makes Macron mad. I don't care if he makes anybody, Boris or anybody else over there, mad. As long as he's being honest about what's not being done and what needs to be done, I don't care if he ruffles the feather on the chicken, because by golly, it's time.
Oh, absolutely. And he's finally saying it like it is. He really tells how the cow ate the cabbage, so to speak. And, boy, they don't like it because, we've been pussyfooting around and doing all these good things for them, and they just got to the point. We basically got them on welfare, and now they're going to have to pay their fair share and get a job.
You got it. I've got to
pay for their own way.
I agree.
They don't like it.
I agree with you. I've got to.
They're after him big time. Thanks a lot, Zen.
Yeah, God bless you. Merry Christmas, Adrian. Thank you very much. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go, please.
They hung up, sir, but I hope they'll call back.
Well, so do I. I didn't mean to chase them away. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Got to have a little patience with me, folks. I want to try to give everybody equal time on the radio if I can. And while I'm waiting for your call back, don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. These are such nice people. And their staff, I mean, they all really work hard for your driving safety. Absolutely. They give it the best of tires for your pickups, cars, SUVs, for any weather. All the different tread designs, all the sizes, everything right there. They've got all your tire chains, and, of course, they've got the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, folks, you better stop in and see them today. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. To the caller that hung up, I would love to have you back on the air. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Notice there's a shortage of French fries. A shortage of potatoes for French fries. And I think that, I don't want to say the wrong number here, but according to what I heard this morning early and last night, they said they're down about 6%, and the yields weren't there, and they had bad weather conditions. And one of the contributing factors is there were not enough heat units for good growth of potatoes in various parts of the United States. So to the climate change folks that want to make things colder and be in control, yeah, go ahead. Mess up our food production system. You've messed everything else up. We're going to take a little break right now for about 3 minutes and send it over to CBS, and they can come in and clutter up the floor with all their news. And then we'll be back. We've got Dan Kish coming up at 9:06, and then Dr. Bruce Hartman at 9:30. Good morning of great guests. Don't miss a minute of it. And then a little bit later on this morning, we're going to give away a ham. You stay tuned, Zeb at the Ranch. Wheels, take it away. Idiots. Absolute idiots. Wow. And they're even here. Ay, my grandmother used to say. Morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You can fade the music out anytime, Wheels, please. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, of course, with all your tires for your safe wintertime driving. Wheels, where are ya? All right, we'll just listen to the music then. Evidently, he's on the phone or something. And also, our thanks go out to your Burley Physical Therapy folks and rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Where were you, man? Thank you, and helping you get back to being you at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, along with our friends at Greystone Crossing, Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Oh, I feel better now. The music's gone. Thank you very much. Before we go to our guest, I also want to acknowledge these good folks at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Western Waste Services, don't forget to get on the route service, and especially at this time of the year, because you're going to be having a lot of friends over, family over, and you're going to have a lot of gift exchanges and everything, and you're going to have a lot of garbage. Yep, you're going to have a lot of garbage. So please get on the route service. Call them. Find out more. 734-6969. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Give them a call today. I know some other good folks that you need to get a hold of. I've known this family for, I'm going to say, over 45 years. Really, really good folks at Quality's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls, and they're having their great big Christmas sale. Listen to this. Sale prices on their great selection of televisions and sound bars and audio equipment, and you can get a $100 gift card with being a new customer, activation of Dish Network. Oh my goodness. And don't forget, mention my name, Zeb Bell, on the radio, and get an extra 10% off all the TV bases and wall mounts. All of this with hometown service and support at Quality's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. Wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. You know, and there's somebody else real quick before we go to my good buddy Dan Kish that I want to acknowledge, and it is, of course, Joel Heward, his family and staff at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with the number 436-5636. They absolutely are committed to upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity of serving you and your family, and they pledge to serve you as you want to be served and treat your loved one as your loved one would like to be treated. Absolutely. Please write the number down, and for information, call them at 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Wonderful people. We also need to tell everybody, if you're aching and paining, like a lot of us do this time of the year, boy, the cold weather sets in and you go, holy smokes, I never felt so old in my life. Well, if you're aching and paining, I urge you to get a hold of our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Number to call, make an appointment. I hope you do. 678-1191. Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists there to serve you and help you get back to being you. Absolutely. Call them today. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. My friend, American Energy Alliance, Dan Kish, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm well, and I hope you are.
You know, Dan, you really are a valuable part of our program on Tuesdays because, number one, you're kind of like the old West Wyatt Earp. You're a straight shooter and tell it like it is, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Zeb. I feel the same about you.
You know, when we look at what's going on around the United States today, and we look at the younger generation, you know, these college kids are jumping on the climate change bandwagon. We're all going to burn up. There's no future. Why? We can't get married. We can't have children. Why? We're all going to turn into a piece of toast in 11 years. This idiocy is all a concentrated effort by people that are control freaks, and those same people I point my finger at that are really promoting energy shortages and promoting electricity outages. They want nothing more than control. Do you think I'm right or wrong?
Oh, I think you're right, Zeb. I mean, I've watched it evolve over, they've been at it for over 3 decades now. I think the first hearing they had on this stuff was back in 1998. And this rendition, I mean, before that they were telling us we were all going to die covered with ice, and we were headed for the ice age and all the rest. But yeah, this has been a coordinated effort. It's included huge amounts of money from people who stand to gain from driving up the cost of energy, making it harder for people to get by. I mean, it's hard enough now, and thankfully we've got a little bit of relief on the oil and gas side in terms of production, because we've been tapping the God-given resources that we've got in this country, in this continent, and that's helped. But basically, yeah, you've got a lot of people who would like to be able to tell you how you heat your water,
mm-hmm.
how you heat your home,
mm-hmm.
How you drive your car,
right.
What kind of fuel you can use. They've got all the answers. I mean, and think of it, they're all here in Washington or, on the coast somewhere, and they don't know diddly about the way average people live their lives in America, in real America. The people who produce their food, the people that produce the livestock, the people that produce the fiber that's necessary, the energy itself. They have much different lives than these folks sitting in high-rise office buildings in some city on the coast who try to come up with a new way for us to change our way of life that they'd like.
You know, Dan, in your office, have you ever sat back in your chair, taken a few moments of personal thought, and asked yourself this question: what if, in 2020, the Democrats take over complete control, the House, the Senate, and the Oval Office? What if they get complete control? What about our energy programs? What about our food programs and production? What about how we live our lives? What about how we heat our homes? What about going and trying to see a doctor with no ability to really start your own car in the garage and go see the doctor in an emergency? The what if question. Have you ever thought about that?
Well, it's kind of scary, Zeb, to be honest with you, for all the reasons that you say, because we're not talking about our grandfathers or even our fathers' Democratic Party at this point in this in Washington. This is much different. I mean, they're talking about they're just coming from a totally different point of view. This isn't even an American point of view. This is something out of Europe. Socialism, heavy-duty socialism, and mandating everything and telling you how to live your life and doing the rest of the things. So it's very scary, to be honest with you. I mean, the only thing that could potentially hold them back is the courts, and they've already said that if they don't get what they want in the courts, they'll just stack the courts if they've got the votes to do it, add a bunch of new judges, the way FDR threatened the Supreme Court back in the 30s when they were making decisions that he didn't like. So, boy, you're trying to spook me today. It's just barely Thanksgiving, and you're harking back to Halloween already.
Well, I don't mean to be that way, but really, you've got to be realistic, and I think it needs to wake the American public up. I mean, whether they are millennials that are maybe sophomores, juniors in college, or whether they're young married folks, or whether they're middle-aged, or whether they're worried about their retirement. I mean, just think about it, folks. The Democrats and what they want to do is transition America, the leader of the free world. They want to transition America away from any energy sources that are reliable and put us at the whim of whether solar's going to heat your home or whether the wind's going to blow and turn the propellers. And that, to me, is very scary.
Yeah, I mean, it is scary. I go back to some basics that energy in the dictionary is the capacity to do work. And in order to do the work that's necessary that Americans want to do in this country, we need affordable, reliable, always-on energy. When we flip the switch, it comes on. We can't wait for, the wind to pick up or the sun to shine or whatever. And by taking us away from that, and frankly, what you're talking about is taking away the capacity to do work. Mm-hmm. They're making us weaker. Again, nobody's ever gone to the doctor and said, at least I haven't, said, boy, doc, I got way too much energy. What can you do to slow me down?
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen. People go to the doctor because they feel like they need some energy. And this country's got energy, thanks to God, and the gifts that he gave us under our feet. And yet, here we are messing around, talking about antiquated sources of energy that are only on 25 to 35% of the time and running our country that runs 100% of the time. It just makes no sense. It really hasn't hit yet because we don't have enough of it. Once we get enough of it into the system, it's going to be like, frankly, it's going to be like a cancer. That's what's happening in Europe. That's why Germans pay 3 times as much as Americans do for their electricity. If you want that kind of a future, just kind of ignore what's going on with these politicians and these utility companies and the regulators that are letting them get away with it.
Yeah, and there's another outlet to have another longer speech regarding politicians. You and I want to be very forthright and honest to my audience. We talked briefly before the program this morning, and there are many politicians on the left in this country that are trying to subvert and absolutely be the fly in the milk against this administration, and Nancy Pelosi is one of the biggest instigators of problems. I want you to share that with us as far as what she's doing behind Donald Trump.
Well, yeah, Zeb. Right now, there's one of these big confabs that they have once a year, twice a year, however often they can justify it, where they bring in all these people that are concerned, thousands and thousands of people from around the world who are so concerned about the climate change that they fly in on jets, many of them private, and or government-owned. And she took a government-owned jet and 15 of her colleagues on a shopping trip to Madrid, Spain. So they're over there telling people, even though the president has taken us out of the Paris Accords, the climate change treaty that Obama wouldn't call a treaty because he couldn't get it signed by the Senate, she's over there saying, oh, we're still in it. We're still in it. The House of Representatives is still in it. Well, she has no authority on that. The president has authority on foreign policy, and she's just sending mixed messages. And meanwhile, by the way, just as an aside, despite the fact that President Trump took us out and we're the only country not in it, we are leading the world in reducing our carbon dioxide emissions, largely because of our large supplies of natural gas. So while China burns 6 times as much coal as we do, consumes half the world's coal, is building coal plants left and right, we're burning natural gas here in America and extending natural gas to people around the world through LNG exports, helping create jobs here at home, and we're the bad guy, and she's over there saying that President Trump doesn't speak for the American people, when in reality and under the Constitution he does.
That's almost treasonous, and if I were Donald Trump, I would have got together with her in a very short meeting and told her, Nancy, please arrange for coach position on an airplane back by the ladies' room and get yourself back home immediately.
Yeah, you know, Zeb, I almost thought about that. It's kind of funny. That is his plane. He commands that plane. It's part of the military airlift command, and theoretically he could just say, you know what, come back.
Yeah.
They could take commercial flights back, and all the shopping that they've done in Madrid. You know, it's right before Christmas. They want to get a little shopping done, duty-free, and haul it back on a U.S. military jet. So, I tell you, it makes your head spin.
Well, let me ask you this question, Dan, and I've been following what's going on with this United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, and some of the stupidity that he spews, along with others that are basically belittling the United States, because we did pull out of the Paris Climate Accord, and the Chile environmental minister by the name of Carolina Schmidt said that they are absolutely laying the groundwork, and I'm quoting right now, laying the groundwork for moving toward carbon-neutral economies. Would you please extend to me, because I'm just an old cowboy from Idaho, what a carbon-neutral economy would be, and what would be given, what would be taken, and what would be non-existent?
Well, there'd be a lot of people who are living today who would be non-existent, Zeb, because you cannot support the population of the Earth with a carbon-neutral economy. I mean, these are just, listen, let's get right down to it. What's going on with all these people, whether it's in, a city like Boise or L.A. or, Denver or New York City or whatever, or if it's in these countries, is these countries and cities have real problems. They have human feces and needles and homelessness on the streets of L.A. They can't solve that problem. The politicians won't solve the things that they can do. Meanwhile, they, pledge open borders and let people come in and make them sanctuary cities for people. And they will not address the problems that they're supposed to be addressing. And yet, what they try to do is just show that they're good people among their voting class in these cities by saying we care about the world climate, over which they can do nothing. There's nothing. That's God's job. And we have very little impact on it at all. And yet, so in other words, they tell you that they can make the sun come up tomorrow, but meanwhile they won't pick up the garbage. That's what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as people fall for it, they'll keep doing it. Once people wake up, once people, the light goes off in their head and they say, oh, wait a minute, why are they so concerned about that when they aren't taking care of the business right in front of them?
But when you start...
we'll continue to have these problems.
And Dan, the carbon cards, I know that there was talk a couple of years ago, and I think it's still laying under the table, glued to the top of the desk, if you will, about each person having a carbon footprint card. And when you exceed your carbon allowances, you're going to get whacked with huge taxes, or you're going to have to stop and completely remove yourself from the activities that are causing the increased carbon. That's a society that I do not want to live in.
No, I mean, it's nobody's business, Seth. I mean, frankly, carbon dioxide is not a pollutant in the traditional form of the way. It doesn't hurt people. The amount we've got in the atmosphere is 0.04% or something like that. It's one of the smallest minute compositions in the entire atmosphere. So, but you. Let's find out everything you're doing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a caller with a quick question or comment. Caller, please, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Well, you're talking about environmentalists. Tom Steyer is delusionally environmentalist, and he, like I said, he's delusional. And there isn't a thing about what he says about environmentalism that is logical, but he continues to press it like it is. It's just like his ads say. Said Donald Trump is a failure and a fraud. And I said, a failure and a fraud? I mean, let's list all the things that Donald Trump has done. And see, that's the thing. You say to yourself, who believes this? Who is believing those ads that Steyer's say, presenting, and then also even Bloomberg is saying basically the same thing? I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, please, Dan.
Yeah, he's right. I mean, not that I have anything necessarily about coal. If we burn it cleanly using modern techniques, it basically puts off nothing but carbon dioxide and steam. But having said that, your caller's right. I mean, Tom Steyer made his money developing coal mines. He became a billionaire by financing coal mine development in Asia to feed the furnaces of China so that they could make solar panels that taxpayers subsidize 30% of to import from China to put on people's houses in California.
Wow.
I mean, that kind of crazy stuff. And now, all of a sudden, he's an environmentalist now that he's a billionaire. Michael Bloomberg, another billionaire who's all about climate change and spending money to affect politics to try to tell you what kind of size drink you can buy at the 7-Eleven. They're control freaks, like you mentioned. They have some great desire to lord it over everybody else, to stick their nose. My mother used to say, don't be a Budinsky. To Budinsky to everybody else's business, to tell them what to do because they don't like what they drive, they don't like what they eat, they don't like what they drink. It's not their business, Zeb.
Amen.
Free country, still a free country. As long as we keep people from making it less free.
Absolutely. My friend, I will look forward to next Tuesday with the American Energy Alliance. Of course, it's Dan Kish, my buddy. Take care, and I'll say this next week and the week after. Merry Christmas. God's blessings to you, Dan. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Zeb. Merry Christmas. God's blessings to you and your listeners.
All right, sir. Thank you very, very much. Dan Kish, I really appreciate his time on our energy segment every Tuesday. Want to remind you, too, about great big bread stock cow sales. Going to be next Monday at Burley Livestock Commission Company at 11 o'clock. You do not want to miss this sale. This is going to be over 1,000 head of ripping good heifers and cows of all ages. And for consignments, get a hold of my friend Cade Rogge at 431-0074 or Merv May at 431-5735. They've already consigned, I think, about 700-plus cows. 450 of those are solid mouth cows, mostly one-iron cows. Hey, this is a sale for you to put together a good string of cattle for this next year. Next Monday, December 9th at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 11 o'clock bread stock cow sale. Don't you miss it. I want to also remind you about something else going on Saturday, and that's the first Saturday of the month sale at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness. Nicole said they're going to open the doors on Saturday at 10 o'clock, stay open till 5. They're going to have all kinds of sale items, all the Christmas ornaments, including custom-made ornaments, on sale, hand-painted customization ornaments available. Oh, my. You better get into this very, very unique store, and it's Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. You stop in this Saturday for their first Saturday of the month sale. Don't forget that. We're going to have our next guest on the program in just a few moments. I also want to remind you about some people that really care about your coverage, your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits for you, your family, and your business. And I'm talking about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. My, Todd and the rest of the folks over there, very dedicated and responsive to your needs. All you got to do is just pick up the phone and dial the number 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Work with the best. Let them serve you at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. And if you're over in that neck of the woods and you want to have some fun this winter, you don't have a snowmobile, you don't have a snow bike? Well, I know the place you can go. Absolutely, let's ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Mondays through Fridays, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. They've got all, underline that word all, your snowmobiles and snow bikes, all the accessories, great Christmas shopping ideas, and they've got the best doggone super service department to keep you running. Stop over. Let's ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and it's really the truth. This is where the fun is sold. You stop over and see those really good people. Oh, by the way, I've mentioned this many times, and I'm going to mention it again. If maybe you put the old transmission in drive and you found yourself backing up, or vice versa, or you put it in drive and you didn't get anything, you've got a transmission problem. Well, let Rick at Mountain Transmissions take care of it, fix you up. You better believe it, at 504 East Main Street in Burley. And they wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. Free estimates and free diagnosis. Give them a call. 678-9110. Mountain Transmissions, Merry Christmas. Let's go to the phone line right now and say good morning to our next guest. And he's kind of like the super sub. He came in place of another gentleman that was scheduled, and he is the author of his book, Your Faith Has Made You Well, A Radical New Way to Create Peace and Hope. Dr. Bruce Hartman, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb, and thank you for having me on.
Well, believe me, when you have a talk show and you're trying to get all the scheduling of various people around the United States and there's a cancellation and you've got somebody like yourself that jumps in and fills the void, I bow at your feet, sir.
That's kind, but you don't have to.
Let me ask you real quick, and there's so many topics I want to get into this morning, but give us a little basis, if you will, about your book, Your Faith Has Made You Well.
It's a book that I wrote because one of the things I was seeing, Zeb, was a lot of people were approaching God as a genie. So in other words, they would pray when they needed something. And what this book does is it's something different. It expands our relationship with God, and it really plays off of a quote that Jesus made a number of times in the Gospels, where Jesus said, "Arise, my daughter, your faith has made you well," or some form of that. And basically what that means is that many times we're healed because of our faith in Jesus and because of our relationship in Jesus and because we follow the ways of Jesus. So instead of looking at God or Jesus as a one-time, we just go, we rub a jar, and then whatever we wish for is given to us, this is a way of building a life, a connected life with Jesus and God, as opposed to just treating God as a necessary part when you need something fixed. It's how to build a relationship. And so it's an instructional book, number one. But number two, there are a lot of interviews with folks to find out about how they manage their faith lives and connected it back to the gospel and filled the book up with their stories. And they're wonderful stories, both the biblical stories and the stories of these wonderful people.
I'll ask my engineer, Wheels, when Mr. Hartman is speaking, turn him up a little bit more, Wheels, if you would. I'd appreciate it. Dr. Hartman, one of my grandmothers, said years and years ago something that always stayed with me. She said, when you need something, ask God. When you don't need something, thank Him.
That is a wonderful, wonderful quote, and I think it's where we all have to move to. It's so true, and it's really the heart of this book.
You know, when you sit down and write a book like this, do you consider, and please know that I'm a Christian and proud of it, but is your audience limited, or are there ways that you can open and extend new branches of a new audience to appreciate your writings?
Well, the first thing when I write, my first thought is, and my first prayer is to, whatever I do to glorify God. So that's my first audience, is to make sure what I write is acceptable to God. So that's the first thing that I'm dealing with. And I don't necessarily write to convert. I write to inspire and inform. So this book is great for people that need inspiration, particularly if their situation is hopeless. This book will give them inspiration. And I also write to inform. So this would be directed at all Christians, whether they're conservative or moderate Christians. This book will fit. And so I do try to be universal in that sense, to make sure that the book fits all Christians. But my primary goal is to please God and to glorify God with whatever I write.
You know, we've got a society right now, Dr. Hartman, and I'm not lumping everybody into the same gunny sack. I'm just saying that we have a alarming number of people that seems to be growing every day that are getting away from God, getting away from Christian principles, getting to the point of evil. Evil in this country seems to be very prominent. How can we turn this thing around?
Well, I think there's a couple things that what we can do ourselves, and I appeal to our brethren throughout the country. Number one, I think part of what's causing this is we've stopped critical thinking, which used to be a great American trait, to think about things. So recently there was a survey done that the Americans want Santa Claus to become neutral. Well, that's not what the headline should have said. And really, when you look at the detail, it says overwhelmingly Americans want Santa Claus to stay the way Santa Claus was. So we should be reading deeper beyond these headlines, instead of just saying we should impeach the president because he did a quid pro quo with Ukraine. Well, that's not really what happened. What really happened is, and every witness has said this, it did not happen. Yet the headlines say it did. So one, we all, whether you're a liberal or a conservative or a moderate, I think have to start looking deeper behind the headlines and do some critical analysis. What do we think? So that's one thing that's creating the division. The second thing that we can all do is we can all listen to learn. Not listen to hear what we disagree with, but listen to learn. And what that does is when you truly give somebody a voice, it doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but when you hear them, it softens their heart. And that's what we really need to do. I think those two things as Americans. Number one is be better critical thinkers, and number two, listen to learn.
You know, I agree with what you said, but I want to beleaguer the point a little bit further. In our society today, we are allowing absolutely false statements and false thinking to be dominant and take over our news and to take over our families, i.e. the genderism. The transgenderism in this country is absolutely going to be the downfall of many, many families, many, many education systems, etc. There are only two genders, male and female, and we've let this thing get completely out of hand and completely go as a slap in the face to God.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. The point that you're making is we allow the exceptions to dictate how we think and feel, and we should turn that around and think more about what is it that God wants from us? And it is to be male and to be female and to accept what we have and what we are. When we allow these exceptions to dominate the conversation and we start adjusting to it, we're doing exactly what you're afraid of.
But how do we combat this when our kids are besieged by this absolute left evil thinking from kindergarten through the grade schools, into the high schools, and into the universities? And by the time, if and when they graduate, their minds are completely warped into a thinking that there's 48 different genders and that we've got to absolutely watch how we introduce somebody with their pronouns. We're looking at a society that's falling apart because of this evil thinking.
Yeah, we're starting to make our rules based on exceptions. So what I say, what I promote is that we push back. We don't push back in anger. We don't push back just to be disagreeable, but we push back and we point out. So, for instance, somebody said to me recently, I can't say Merry Christmas. I should say Happy Holidays because you don't know who I'm offending. Well, I'm going to continue to say Merry Christmas. I'm certainly not going to say it in a way that's intended to be offensive. But it is not my responsibility to take my desires as a Christian person to not say Merry Christmas. Because for the fact of the matter is most Americans are Christians, and I should be able to say Christmas. What the liberal or the academic world is trying to teach our children is exceptionalism, as opposed to what the general population wants. So when you do go into school, the professors are cranking up these theories, but they're not theories based off of what the real world is. It's theories that they can get a paper published on. And unfortunately, by doing that, they're destroying the minds of all of our youth. So what we have to do as adults and as parents and as civic leaders, we have to push back, and we're not doing enough of that. And we cannot be afraid of them. We have to start saying it's okay to say Merry Christmas. It's okay to be against abortion. It's okay to recognize male and female. And I don't think as a society we do that because we're so afraid of the blowback that's going to occur.
Yes. One thing and one aspect that we've talked about on this program, you and Dr. Farrell and many, many other guests that I've had on this program, and I'm going to be blunt, it's every day on your television sets, it's during the primetime TV, it's every day in the school system, etc. The feminization of young men and boys. It's absolutely pathetic, and I'll use the word again, evil, what's happening to boys hopefully going to become men in our society, and they're nothing but wusses in general. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do, and I think that we've become so concerned about being fair. We're not being fair to our men anymore, particularly the boys. Fatherless families are growing. And we've actually idealized this term called the baby daddy. And it's not about being a baby daddy. It's about being a father to your children. And there's a preordained biological reason for that. Every child needs a mother. Every child needs a father. And this is God's will. This is God's design. And we can't walk away from it. When I read articles saying that we should make Santa Claus gender neutral, I notice that they don't say that we should be making the fairy godmothers gender neutral either. There's a real attack against males, and particularly with how young men are being raised. There is a reason for why we are who we are, and we shouldn't try to defy that.
But I guess my question is, I've only got about a couple of minutes left on this segment. Dr. Hartman, it's not the kids' fault, really, when they go to school and they are very feminized, etc. It goes back to the home. What's going on or not going on in the home where parents aren't really raising their kids to be men and women and respectful of each other?
Well, I think it starts with the man. We have a responsibility to our children. We have a responsibility to our wives, and that responsibility is to act like men and to be men and not to allow anybody to tell us not to be. And I think what we're doing is men are not staying with the family. They're leaving. There's too many fatherless families out here. You can talk to any ethnic group. They'll tell you that's their number one concern. So One is we have to, it may be uncomfortable to be a father, but that's not the point. The point is you've got to be a father. And so that's the first thing I think that's happening in the family. And the second thing that's happening in the family is this pushback that is being taught to our children that men are somewhat evil. And we hear this every once in a while. They use this word misogyny. Well, not all misogyny is bad. There is a certain need to have a protective force in the family, and it's okay to have that. We shouldn't lord it over women. We shouldn't lord it over our children, but that is our responsibility, to protect our family, to be a father, and to be present as a male.
Absolutely.
Assert those rights. Not lord it, but assert those rights.
Absolutely. We could go on, but the clock on the wall dictates that I'm done for this segment. Dr. Bruce Hartman, author of the book, Your Faith Has Made You Well, A Radical New Way to Create Peace and Hope. I really appreciate your coming on the program, and I want to extend to you and your family a very blessed Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
And you as well, Zed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Always enjoy having him on the program, Dr. Bruce Hartman. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Want to remind you, Merry Christmas wishes from Burley Veterinary Hospital in Burley. Yes, along with AMI in Burley, wishing you Merry Christmas. Nature Valley Nursery in Burley and Clark's for Shopping in Oakley wish you the very best of Christmas wishes. And Searles in Oakley, Merry, Merry Christmas. Thank you very much from those great businesses. Right now, it is time for the weather. And the weather brought to you this hour by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. Holy moly, they're the best. They're the professionals, and they can serve you with the best of tax return preparations, tax planning, business consulting, financial statement preparation, retirement planning. The list goes on and on and on. And they've got offices in 2 locations, Burley and Rupert. I urge you to get a hold of them today. Let them work for you. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Relatively mild conditions for the rest of this week until we get to the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly cloudy skies, but we might see a few rays of sunshine by this afternoon. It's going to be nice and calm with a high of about 40 tonight. The clouds are going to be rolling back in. We are expecting a low of 23. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies with a high of 40, mostly cloudy for tomorrow night. Expecting a low right around 21. Winds are going to be picking up out of the east. For Thursday, mostly cloudy skies, high of 38, overnight low of 23. Clouds are going to stick around for Friday with a high of 42. Friday night, we do have a slight chance of snow showers in the overnight hours, mostly cloudy skies with a low of about 26. Saturday, we do have a 50% chance of precipitation, rain and snow mix. And we are expecting a high of 42. Then by Sunday, slight chance of snow, cloudy with a high near 40. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by the professionals that really care and can serve you, your family, and your business. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Offices at 1710 Oberlin Avenue in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Let's see, what else have I got here real quick that I need to remind everybody? Oh, Merry Christmas wishes, of course, from Magic Valley Irrigation at 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Jeff and the crew, they thank everybody involved in our food production for a job well done. Magic Valley Irrigation, offering irrigation system service and repair since 1978. Wishing you a Merry Christmas. Along with Magic Valley Carpet, nice people over at 613 D Street in Rupert. Telephone number to call, 436-1722. And boy, they've got all your carpet needs. Company coming for Christmas. You better give them a call. Magic Valley Carpet. And last but not least, Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair, 635 21st Street in Heyburn. Hey, remember the true meaning of the season. And remember the senior centers, too, from a guy that really cares. Doug at Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair in Heyburn. All of them wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Love this time of the year. I really, really do. By the way, I want to get a plug in here real quick. Put this on the calendar, circle it in red and green Christmas colors, that on Thursday, December 19th at 8 to 11, I'm going to be broadcasting live and direct. Hold on if the cough doesn't kill me. At Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley for their Denny's Old Fashioned Christmas. Oh my goodness, we are going to have fun. Santa Claus is going to be there, and we're going to have Christmas carol singing from Ashley Ludlow. We're going to have prizes. Oh, and great food too. All of this at Denny's Old Fashioned Christmas on Thursday, December 19th. Put that on your calendar and be there. You know what I think I'll do right now? I think I will give away another Christmas ham. Now, Deanne and I, along with Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and Smith's Foods, are going to be giving away a ham every day leading up till Christmas. And I'm going to cough again, so stay tuned. There, we're done. We're back. You can win a free 5-pound ham for Christmas. Compliments of Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and Zebeth Ranch. All you got to do is answer this trivia question, and you're a winner. Now, don't hang up after you give the answer if it's the right answer. Wheels over at the station is going to take down your name and address and your phone number, and we're going to send you a certificate that you can take into Smith's Foods either in Twin Falls or Burley for the redemption for a ham. So it's really important. Here's the question for today. Now, it's a little tougher than the one I asked yesterday. Paul Peterson was our first winner. According to the song, what did my true love give to me on the seventh day of Christmas? According to the song, what did my true love give to me on the seventh day of Christmas? Call right now with that answer, and you might be the lucky winner of a ham. You can keep it for yourself, or maybe you know someone that needs it, a needy family for the Christmas season. Call. According to the song, what did my true love give to me on the seventh day of Christmas? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb. 7 swans a swimming.
Who is this?
This is Mike Campbell, the Sixer.
Mike, I got to hand it to you. I thought I knew the Christmas songs really well, and when I was asked this question about what did my true love give to me on the seventh day of Christmas, I didn't know if it was a bunch of donkeys or geese or whatever. You got it, man. So congratulations.
You can't brand in the rain, buddy.
That's exactly right. Mike Campbell, you have the right answer. 7 swans a swimming. Stay on the line and let Wheels get your address, and we'll mail you that certificate to go in and get your ham, Mike.
Okay, buddy.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you.
All right, sir. Thank you very, very much. Isn't that great? He had the answer right there. 7 swans a swimming. I didn't know what the answer was until I looked it up. Got time for a call or two. Give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We're going to be doing that almost every day right up till Christmas. Deanne and I, we thought, well, we'll put something back in the community along with our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and Smith's Foods. Thank you very, very much. Want to remind you, while I have just a moment waiting for your phone call about our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Holy moly. Knowing Jeff and the rest of the crew at Lee's Furniture, they've got everything all decorated up really Christmassy with the lights and the tinsel and everything else. It's a great place to go for all your Christmas shopping. And they've got dinnerware. I didn't know this, for only $45. Check it out. They've got dinnerware for $45, and they've got all kinds of recliners. Brand new shipment just came in. Oh boy, recliners here, recliners there, recliners everywhere, and all your tile and your carpet, everything. Just stop into Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. They are waiting right this minute, right now, for you. Stop into Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Let's see, what have we got coming up this next hour? We have Attorney James Herson. I always look forward to James Herson being on our program. lives down in California, and a very conservative attorney and political analyst, and he's going to tell it like it is. He doesn't pull any punches when it comes to jabbing at Tinseltown and actors and what the situation is politically. I really appreciate him. Then at 10:30 this morning, we've got Daphne Barak, I hope I said her name right, with a book called To Plea or Not to Plea, and it's a political book in regards to the Trump administration, etc. So I think that'll be really interesting, and so your calls would be appreciated. Once again, a quick reminder, so you don't get confused, we're going to have the Denny's Old-Fashioned Christmas at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley on the 19th. That is going to take the place of our lunch bunch for this month of December, and we welcome everybody to be there. I mean, last year and the years previous, we have had hundreds and hundreds of people show up, and it's just been an outstanding event. Brings tears to my eyes. Everybody in the Christmas spirit, and like I said, we're going to have Santa Claus there and Christmas carols. That woman, that Ashley Ludlow, who can she sing Christmas carols? It's going to be a lot of fun. All of this at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, on Thursday, December 19th. Right now, we're going to send it over to Wheels in our main studio, and we'll go to CBS News and be back in about 7 minutes. Oh, good morning, and welcome back to hour number 3. Some clouds out there and some blue sky, and hopefully the weather's not going to be too bad today to get outside and enjoy a little bit. Good morning, Zeb at the Ranch, hour 3, sponsored by, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires to get through whatever the weather throws at you this winter, okay? Stop in and see them today. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And our friends at Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Oh, seniors, I urge you. I know a couple of months ago they had an open house and they invited my program, my wife, and our lunch bunchers over there to take a look at it. Beautiful, beautiful surroundings, 12-bedroom home, and they provide 3 meals a day with snacks and housekeeping and local transportation. What are you waiting for? Run to the telephone and call to set up an appointment to look at for yourself firsthand. Greystone Crossing Senior Living, right there on 21st Street in Hayburn. 650-4979. That number again, 650-4979. You call them today. Want to also remind you, Merry Christmas wishes from Butte Irrigation at 116 South, 600 West of Paul. And another location by Red Cap Corner in Kimberly. Butte Irrigation has all the parts for all the brands. And believe me, the slogan is true. They will get you wet. Butte Irrigation wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Along with Golden Valley Warehouse, 1000 South, 468 West of Burley. Great family, locally owned and operated for over 40 years by the Adams family, and they say, hey, Merry Christmas. They've got all the quality seed for you. Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Don't forget, hey, she's got a great Christmas gift-giving idea. Gift certificates to Vicky's Country Garden. Call her, 431-5667. Absolutely. Vicky's Country Garden, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. There is a gentleman that I always look forward to having on my program when his schedule permits. He is an attorney and he's a political analyst. He's an author. By the time you say all that he can do, you're going to run out of paper and run out of ink in the pen. Good morning, James Herson. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you doing?
I am great. It's a treat, and I mean that, to have you back on the show.
Well, it's my pleasure and honor to be with you, Zeb.
Got to ask you, James, you study this, and I know that you make a lot of engagements to talk on various radio and TV about political messes that we're in. And the biggest mess right now, a drama that I don't think anybody in Hollywood could have written the screenplay or would want to is what's playing out back in the House Ways and Means Committee room and led then by, of course, Adam Schiff, and now the new meetings led by little Jerry Nadler. I'm telling you, this has got to stop. It's killing our country.
Well, it really is debasing a very serious constitutional process and provision. The idea, the Founding Fathers debated the idea of impeachment being used for partisan political purposes, that was one of the possibilities, knowing the state of mankind, but they couldn't have possibly imagined the blatant disregard for fairness or truth or due process that we have had to endure with these hearings. First of all, Adam Schiff started out with secret hearings. And a lot of people defended this by saying, well, it's just like a grand jury. Well, impeachment is designed to undo an election. And it is not a mere criminal procedure that we would have when somebody commits a crime. This is a constitutional process, and it is terribly important that every single step of it has transparency and is exposed to the public. When they analogize it to the grand jury, that process is what has always occurred historically. We haven't had that many impeachments, but in the modern era, we're talking about Nixon and Clinton. Well, we had, at that time, these independent counsels that conducted a very thorough and long and expensive investigation. Well, we had one of those. We had it with Robert Mueller. We spent $30 million. We had 13 angry Democrat lawyers and investigators upending and turning over every rock, searching for evidence of wrongdoing, primarily on the Russia collusion narrative, but any crime they could find. And they found nothing. They found no impeachable offense. And the Democrats have all but acknowledged that because they've abandoned that whole narrative now for this scheme, this setup, which started with fakery. It started with two pieces of fiction. The first fiction was the report that was filed by the so-called whistleblower, which turned out to be filled with fabrications. We've forgotten about that. It's in writing. If you line up the whistleblower's report with the transcript of the telephone call, they don't line up at all. And then, of course, we have Schiff himself acting out a fabricated fictional dialogue that never took place, that maybe took place in his head, but went along with the whistleblower report. Then we have Adam Schiff not telling the truth, basically denying that he and his staff had contact with this so-called whistleblower before the whistleblower complaint was filed. The whistleblower himself, and we're not supposed to say his name, Eric Ciaramella. Did I say that? Eric Ciaramella. The whistleblower lawyered up with political hacks, and they drafted up this fake report. So the whole thing started with lies and fabrication. And then when we went into the public portion, the president, on his side, was denied fundamental rights that anybody would have if they're accused. And that those rights were given to Bill Clinton. Those rights were given to Richard Nixon. So the irony, of course, is that in all of this unfairness, Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi, their goal was to move public opinion. They wanted to increase support for impeachment and lower approval numbers for President Trump. And during the 2 weeks that Adam Schiff was on TV every day, what happened was the opposite. support for impeachment fell and approval for President Trump went up, and the Democrats became extremely frightened in recent days when they saw poll after poll showing a record high approval rating in the African American community that the Democrat Party relies upon. Over 30% in almost every poll, which is unprecedented. And so they're in a panic, and now we hear a new word being circulated like a trial balloon, censure. And that may be their exit strategy.
I want to go back, James, if I could, to the first day, if you will, of the Ways and Means Committee room and Adam Schiff when he took his turn at the microphone and delivered a parody, a very nonsensical, not factual parody, and it set the tone for fiction and fraud for the entire hearing. Do you think I'm wrong?
No, but the one thing I would disagree with, he called it a parody after the fact.
Yes.
In fact, he meant it in his twisted mind. He meant it that to somehow be convincing, to persuade people. And in his desire to persuade, Adam Schiff has shown us over the last more than 2 years that his attempt to persuade involves lying on camera. And he's done it with the Russia collusion narrative, where he said repeatedly, almost every night, that he had evidence, that he possessed it, that he had the evidence to show that, in fact, the Trump campaign, the Trump administration had been colluding with Russia, been colluding with Putin, and that he would reveal it. Of course, he never did have it, because we saw that come crashing down when Robert Mueller actually testified in public and didn't know what fusion GPS was, supposedly. So what Adam Schiff did, I think, has to have shocked certain people, people that have some sort of logical sense that are registered Democrats, and it certainly had to shock Nancy Pelosi. I think she's already written a speech, Zeb, and I think that speech, we possibly may hear it in January, because she's caught in a box. The speech would go something like this: we've amassed evidence, we are convinced that the president has committed an impeachable offense, and we're ready to go forward, but this process has taken a long time, and now we've decided to let democracy decide this.
Oh, boy.
Let the American voter decide, because we're so close to an election, and we're confident that the American voter will remove this wrongdoer from office. I see her, I think that speech, this is just my idea, that it's already written, because that's why the word censure is coming up, because they're looking forward to a Senate trial that will be absolutely devastating for the Democrats. The Republicans are already telegraphing that they're going to bring in Adam Schiff, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Alexandra Chalupa, Nellie Orr, Bruce Orr, a laundry list of embarrassing witnesses, but witnesses that the American public would love to hear from. All of these mysteries that we haven't gotten the whole story on, some of them would be interconnected. And can you imagine these people actually being cross-examined by skilled lawyers, skilled members of Congress? We saw a little preview of that when John Radcliffe and Jim Jordan were able to just have a little bit of cross-examination of these witnesses that were expressing opinions and double hearsay. We saw a little bit of how that works. but it's nothing like what we would see in the Senate trial.
You know, let me ask you this, James. You're from California, and you probably know Adam Schiff and his personality far, far more than anyone I've had on this program. But let me ask you this question. Why, and this is speculative, but why would Adam Schiff, a political hack that wants to stay with his political hackness, if you will, why would he want to put his neck on the line and keep perpetrating fraudulent means and methods to a case that really hasn't had a crime yet? I mean, why politically would he want to put a gun to his head and keep going on this trail of trying to get Trump?
Well, the one thing, that is a great question. Because, you know, why would Adam Schiff, why would Nancy Pelosi, why would these people move forward when they know they're not going to be successful? There is no way that they will be able to remove the president. You know, the Senate requires a 2/3 supermajority vote. That would mean probably more than 20 Republicans would have to vote to remove. And the reason I say more than 20 is because there's people like Joe Manchin, who is in a state that where Trump is very popular. Joe Manchin tends not to go along with the Democrat Party at times, and I think it's very likely that he would not vote for removal. Even Mitt Romney has telegraphed that he wouldn't vote for removal. The president is not going to be removed. They know that. So why would Adam Schiff go forward? And why is Schiff so renegade in the sense of his image being tarnished, it seems, over and over again? The answer to that is we have created, in states like California and other states, political monsters. And the reason we've done that is we've taken away citizens' right to vote. Why do I say that? Because we have had governments, state governments, in some cases local governments assisting, allowing people who are in this country illegally, who are brought in by the droves, to vote illegally, thus giving a candidate like Schiff, who runs in an area, if you remember Johnny Carson saying, beautiful downtown Burbank. Mm-hmm. That is Schiff's district. The people in Burbank have lost their right to fire Schiff because a whole host of illegal people have been given the facility to vote. So thus, in California, the Republican Party has almost ceased to exist. It is a one-party state because they have outsourced the vote and created political monsters. And that's what's happened, by the way, in urban areas across this country. We know there is not a single city, big city, in the United States of America that is not run by far left-wing people. Not one. And that's why the cities are crime-ridden, filled with homelessness, filled with human excrement. And this is true of cities that used to be completely different. Here in California, San Diego was once, their slogan was America's finest city. Well, you know, maybe they still are relatively compared, you know, to places like San Francisco, but they have become the usual cesspool that what happens when you have far left policies in full bloom. So they have the record of homelessness. They're all sanctuary cities, by the way. And California being a sanctuary state, Adam Schiff feels confident that he can go forward and be reckless and still get reelected. That's a terrible kind of crime. But Nancy Pelosi alluded to it when she said it was no big deal that Ocasio-Cortez got elected as a Democrat. She said a glass of water would be elected as long as they're a Democrat in her New York district. Mm-hmm. That's what the country has come to.
James, final thought here. As we look and we're drawing closer every day to the 2020 election. And I know, and you know, there's going to be more insidious means and methods that are going to be employed by the left to denigrate and hurt the possible re-election of Donald Trump. But from your standpoint, doing this for a living and being a political analyst, across the board, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, do you think that they have hurt Donald Trump enough to not get reelected?
Well, as we stand today, the answer is clearly no, and their own polling shows it. And something has happened to the general public. The mainstream media has lost a lot of its persuasive power. The Democratic Party's narratives have lost their punch, and it's similar. They're kind of like the boy who cried wolf, and they're also. What's happened is shows like yours, what we used to call the alternative media, a very vigorous social media that can't be stopped, even though the tech companies are trying to stop it. The truth gets out in a way that it wasn't able to before. And the president's using his Twitter account very effectively. And so what's happened is these narratives fall flat and fail. Now, there's a long time between now and November of 2020, and as you pointed out, there's a lot of events. They always say that that's an eternity in the political world. But the way things look today, I wouldn't bet against the president. You know, the Republican Party is experiencing incredible fundraising. And so it was like during the Kavanaugh disaster for the Democrats, Republicans raised gobs of money. This whole impeachment thing is raising money for all the PACs, the RNC, for everybody associated with Trump. And the Democrats are not raising money. They're not doing well. But we know that there are people like George Soros that'll change that equation, Michael Bloomberg, people like that. But at the end of the day, I think the fact that Trump has shown himself in his actions to be willing to sacrifice his own reputation, well-being, even his wealth, for things that have not been fought for before Trump came into office, things like the borders, trade, fighting the bureaucracy of the so-called swamp, that he's established a track record where I think he's the favorite, and I think that's what's good. I think the polls have a hard time measuring the support for Trump. So even though they have these numbers that scare the Democrats now, I think it's much higher than what the polls are showing. But there's no reason to get overconfident because the schemes, the insidiousness, the cheating, the illegal voting, it's going to be at record levels.
You know, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time here this morning. I was spellbound listening to every comment you made. Attorney and political analyst and author James Herson. James, I extend to you from my wife and I and this studio a very blessed Merry Christmas, and thank you for being on the show this morning.
All right. Oh, and thanks for having me. By the way, on my website, JamesHerson, HIRSEN.com, there's some Christmas music that I've produced, and the part of the proceeds are going to go to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Great.
For the first responders, for 9/11, but also first responders. They basically provide mortgage-free homes for them. And the latest one is a recording of "Oh Holy Night," which, you know, I love Christmas music, and these are the ones that are banned. So, something to check out.
I will personally check it out and keep plugging it. James, God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
All right. God bless you, Seb.
Take care. Good friend of this program, and anytime I can get him scheduled, I look forward to it. James Herson in California. You've probably seen him on news shows like Fox and others, and a very knowledgeable individual. Thank you very much. Holy cow, we got to pay some bills here. I want to remind you, and this isn't really paying bills, this is creating your own financial security and your own personal bank. What am I talking about? I'm talking about 7K metals and silver purchases. That's right, you can create your own security bank through silver purchases, and the silver comes right to your home. It's a savings opportunity for you and a valued treasure for your loved ones. I urge you, Deanne and I are involved. Absolutely, I ask you to call Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259 and talk about investing in financial security and wealth protection through silver. Call them today. Tell them I told you to call. Absolutely, 7K Metals. You'll be glad you did. Right now, we're going to send it over to our main studio. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, I apologize for having that old cough, nagging cough again today, and I certainly don't want to cough in your ears, so I apologize up front. Hey, don't forget our friends at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. What wonderful, wonderful people, and I've got to get a hold of them and find out how the mentioning of various charities is at the counter. When you go in and buy a product for Christmas or a gift or whatever, mention to them what's your favorite charity. And the two most mentioned charities are going to be selected by Patterson's, and Patterson's, are going to send those charities $500 each to the top two. Wow, that is such a blessing. Don't forget, stop into Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena there to serve you with all the home theater systems, TVs, car stereos and speakers, everything. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. You be sure and stop in today to Patterson's in Burley. Also, real fast, Christmas wishes from your friends at Rogge Auction Company in Declo. Good people. What an auction company they are. Snake River Auto Body and Paint in Twin Falls. Good people. Baker Brothers Pump Service. They can do the job. Dixon Oil over in Rupert. Very supportive of community activities. And Redder's Showcase in Burley. Absolutely great folks. Wishing you and yours a Merry, Merry Christmas. Now, without further ado, and shifting the position of my cough drop, I almost choked to death, I'm going to introduce the author of To Plea or Not to Plea. Good morning, Daphne Barak. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
I'm good. Now, please don't hesitate to correct me on the pronunciation of your name. Did I do all right?
You did amazing. Yeah, you can repeat it.
Okay. I love the name, Daphne Barak. That is a beautiful name. And is this your first book that you've ever written, To Plea or Not to Plea?
You and your listener probably heard about my first book was Saving Amy with Amy Winehouse. It was based, I'm a television executive producer and an international interviewer. I'm syndicated in 12 key markets and reach 500 million viewers and readers. So that was my first book. I didn't mean to write it. Amy Winehouse was not in a shape to write or to express herself anymore, although she was such a genius, and she asked me to do that. And it became like a cult, and as you know, a film inspired by it actually won an Oscar a few years ago. So,
wonderful.
It was a tragedy, but it was really, really difficult to document it.
Well, I know you're a lady of great talent, but how did you pick this topic about Rick Gates and the Trump administration and the title, of course, To Plea or Not to Plea? Give us a little background on how you got started on this project.
Very good question, I have to say, because I usually interview head of state, or I'm sure you've heard about my big special with Michael Jackson and Liza Minnelli partnership with Liz Murdoch, the daughter of Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Fox. So it wasn't really on my radar, but we're good friends of Trump. My husband, Bill, who, by the way, has a new book about Erdogan, Turkey, Syria, And Turkey, as one of our friends said, this flight book is genius. And I just came back from Mar-a-Lago. We saw the president. We chatted with him privately as usual. And Eric Trump introduced me to Rick Gates during the election of 2016 because, as you remember that, although Trump got the delegates in order to be in order to be the GOP nominee, Ted Cruz didn't like the result, and he was trying to buy delegates. So the Trump family were trying to secure family, close friends, as Bill and myself, to be delegates. We were 2 delegates of the California delegation. So that's how I met Rick. We didn't become friends or anything. Then during the inauguration, we stayed with the family and friends at the Trump Hotel in D.C. Rick was the deputy chairman of the inauguration, a mutual friend of Trump and myself, Tom Barr. So we started to bump into each other, and then we had coffees and, more. Then I invited him to some parties, but not more. What changed my complete perspective was the day, if you remember, Zev, and I'm sure we all remember this weekend, that suddenly on Friday, the Mueller team, they said they didn't leak, I think they did leak, whoever. Suddenly it was all over the news that there would be the first 2 indictment of the Mueller investigation, and everybody in Washington was guessing who it may be. And we all thought maybe Paul Manafort because his house was raided, or Mike Flynn. We didn't think about Rick Gates. He did call me on that Sunday before the Monday announcement and wanted to meet. We decided to meet the following, that Monday. We were on our way from California to D.C. We decided to meet at 5 p.m. with another friend of ours, Eric Bernstein, who's a son of our ambassador to China, and didn't think about it. Rick asked me, who do you think it is? My guess is as good as yours. Didn't think about it. He might have had a premonition, but I don't know. There was nothing that could hint that it was him. We landed at the Trump Hotel in D.C. 7 a.m. in the morning. The manager of the hotel received us. As I jumped into the shower, suddenly I hear my husband screaming, "Come, come, come, look at this, look at the television. It is Rick Gates." And of course, it was calling Paul Manafort and Rick Gates were indicted. And me, I made a stupid remark. I was so shocked. I said, well, I guess we don't have a 5 p.m. coffee with him, right? And that was it. And then, when mutual friends of ours, we were all shocked because he was part of the scene in the Trump Hotel, in the Trump orbit. He was very likable because, unlike Manafort, he wasn't trying to steal the show or to give interviews. He was very powerful. If you didn't have my contacts with Trump, if you wanted a VIP invitation to one of the inaugurations events or even to get a job to get your resume to the transition team, Rick Gates was the guy. So he was all over in 1 second. He became radioactive. Nobody would call him. So when mutual friends of us told me that he's thinking whether to plea or not to plea, and it was in the papers, I did call him because I thought, you have to show friendship when people need you. And I just told him one sentence, look, it's nobody's business whether to plea or not to plea. It's really between you and your wife and your family. Only advice I can tell you, whether you plea or not, tell them the truth because they already know it. And he was very grateful. We met for lunch. My husband was shocked. He said, what are you doing, I said, well, And then I realized, Zev, that it can actually happen to each one of us, to you, to your listeners, to me, to anybody. When the government is going so forcefully after a person, there is no chance that he or she can make a decision on their own. I thought it would be a choice between 2 terrible options, to plea or not to plea, between cancer and AIDS. No, there's no choice, because the moment Rick didn't plea, and it's happening right now in other cases like the college scandal, you see Felicity Huffman fled, and Lori Loughlin, who decided to fight it, suddenly is getting 40 years, 60 years, 8 years, every other week they multiply the charges. So that was the time that Rick told me, he really broke down when they doubled the charges against him and Paul Manafort. And he doesn't have the millions of Paul Manafort. He's much younger. He has 4 kids. 3 of them are young. They don't even know that something is wrong with Daddy. It affected his wife's health. And, he just, he understood. He could not fight it. So it can happen to each one of us. And it's just life interrupted. I mean, all these people, Mike Flynn, Rick Gates, Paul Manafort, nobody is a Snow White, nobody is a saint. But the punishment is so much bigger than the scenes, and they were just caught in the middle because they were in the orbit of Donald Trump, and some people in this country cannot accept the fact that Donald Trump won the election in 2016. You see what's going on, right?
Well, Daphne, I'm going to ask you this question because your knowledge and ability as a writer and documentary filmmaker, I'm sure you've thought of this and asked yourself this question. How sinister and how big is this spider web that we're seeing grow like a cancer in this country with the liberal left that are willing to take down anybody? How dangerous and sinister is it right now?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I reveal in my book, because we call it the Mueller investigation. You and I know that it was more of a Weissman investigation because, we saw Mueller on television. And Weissman, by the way, signed with Paul Manafort that he could never write a book, made sure that none of them can talk, right? That's why this book is so big, because it's the first inside the investigation. And Weissman himself quit the investigation after you and I and your listeners, the taxpayers, paid more than $30 million, and went and signed a lucrative book deal about what he did for my money, your money, and he was supposed to be impartial, right? This is crazy. So let me tell you what I am revealing. And of course, the left media wouldn't go ahead with it. I started it, Maria Bartiromo and Fox. Some other great people like yourself started to take it, and I told the president, and he, of course, took it to the heart. It was the guess, Deb, how early did Mueller and his team concluded? How early they concluded that they cannot charge anybody with the Russian collusion. Mm-hmm. You there?
Yes, I am. I'm listening to every word, believe me. And the entire investigation and the Mueller report, everything...
Election in November 2018, right?
Yes.
Mueller submitted his report only end of March 2019.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Like 4 months, 5 months later.
Right.
His team asked Rick Gates and Flynn and others every time they made them about Russian collusion, until one day they stopped. And they started to talk about inauguration, foreign money, but they stopped asking about Russian collusion. That was around mid or end June 2018. That means that by that time they concluded, they had the conclusion about Russian collusion, and then we found out that it was no, we cannot charge anybody with Russian collusion. But they decided not to share it with you and I and your listeners. So here is the paradox, that Mueller was appointed to find out if there was interference in the 2016 election.
That's right.
Now, by not telling you and I and the country that he concluded that there was no Russian collusion before the 2018 election, he interfered in the 2018 election, don't you think?
Absolutely. Let me ask you this, Daphne. I'm almost out of time, and I want to ask you this question. And it's kind of after the fact. Your book is out right now, To Plea or Not to Plea. But what are your personal thoughts about what may happen with the Inspector General report, the Horowitz report, and the Durham report? What do you think might happen?
You mean what will happen or what happened?
Well, no, what will happen. There's some enclosed information in both of those reports that the GOP and the Trump administration are saying could blow the lid off of all this perpetrated falseness from the Democratic Party with the Durham report and the Horowitz report. What are your thoughts about that?
And let me throw something even bigger to the air. Which I did not mention to the president when I saw him this weekend, because he has enough reason to be aggravated and angry, right, to make him more angry. But I got very interesting text message from Steve Bannon. The whole Roger Stone thing, right? And that will be probably part of the report. Why would you go and take, I don't know, like how many, 20 or whatever FBI agents and they raid a home in Florida of an old couple, right? I mean, are there like terrorists? What's the story? Steve Bannon was one of the two key witnesses against his will, against Roger Stone. He couldn't do anything because of a text message of Roger Stone and email, whether he talked to WikiLeaks. I don't think he ever did. I think he just decided to talk to WikiLeaks to impress Trump, who fired him, but that's very humane. And Roger is a colorful guy. So anyway, what I'm telling you is that Bannon, I asked Bannon, why did you go and testify? I said, I didn't have any choice. You know, you can fight a subpoena so far, and then, you know, you have to let go. Rick Gates was the key witness despite Bannon. And then Bannon, as you know, Rick Gates was forced to testify, otherwise he didn't have his sentencing in 2 weeks. He didn't want to. And he had to reveal what is already revealed in the Mueller report, that Trump got a phone call from Roger Stone, and Roger Stone talked to him about WikiLeaks, because Roger Stone was telling him the truth, so no, that's a different topic. But they knew about this conversation because they had the log of Stone's telephone, right?
Right.
They knew the time, they knew everything. So Bannon is telling me, and some of Bannon's theories are crazy, but some of them I think he's genius, and some of them make sense. Bannon's texting me and said, no, Daphne, you don't understand. The whole exercise of the Roger Stone big trial, you know, I mean, 7 charges. Wow, what's the whole thing is that they wanted Rick Gates to say in court, not only the Mueller report that nobody had patience to read because it's written so badly. They wanted Rick Gates to say under pressure, in court, under oath, that he heard Trump discussing WikiLeaks with Roger Stone. Now, Trump was the recipient. Roger Stone was telling him something. Trump was just listening. But they wanted Rick Gates to say that under oath, that then they knew something that Rick Gates, Flynn, and everybody didn't know, that Trump had already answered the Mueller question in writing, and he said he doesn't recall that he ever discussed it. They want to go, the whole dirty exercise of the Roger Stone trial was to make sure that if the impeachment doesn't hold water, they will go after perjury, that Trump perjured himself. Now, then, between you and I, he said, to my recollection, he didn't recall. I saw the president every few weeks in the last year since I started to write the book, and sometimes he remembered what we were talking last time, and sometimes I had to remind him that the lady next to me actually knows her. I mean, the guy has so many things on his mind, so he maybe didn't recall, you know?
Absolutely.
That was the whole idea. So, I mean, was it a fair and square investigation? Don't you think that we find so many things, so many other things?
Absolutely. You know, I'm out of time, but I want to tell everybody this is a fascinating book, To Plea or Not to Plea, the story of Rick Gates and the Mueller investigation, written by Daphne Barak, and God bless you for explaining it on our program. Where can people find the book for a great Christmas gift?
Absolutely. It's To Plea or Not to Plea, the story of Rick Gates and the Mueller investigation is published by Hachette. It's published in several countries, Australia, U.S. among them. And it's here on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all, you know, Bulk, Goodreads, all over. And you know what? It's not a depressing, I mean, there are very painful chapters because it can happen to each one of us. But there are also cheerful, funny stories that you would love, and also an intimate look inside Melania and Donald's relationship. That they basically know what is written there, and it's not what people think. I mean, she's not a beautiful wallflower. She's a full partner. He trusts her entirely, not only loyalty-wise, but also her judgment about people. They're really a team, and I think it will be very eye-opener for you to know more about Melania and Donald, to know about his sense of humor, and to understand why he succeeded against the odds.
Absolutely. Daphne Barak, God bless you. Merry Christmas, and thank you for being on the program. I've got to run. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas, Zeb, and don't forget to have my husband, Bill Ganassi, on the show.
All right. Thank you very, very much. I will. Bye. Thank you. Very nice lady, and a very interesting book called To Plea or Not to Plea, the story of Rick Gates and the Mueller investigation, written by Daphne Barak. And I know I've got a caller coming in, but I'll tell you what, I'll take a real quick call, and then I've got a weather forecast. Caller, real fast. Go.
Okay. Zeb, I know you're pressed for time, so I just make it real short. The DOT with the state of Idaho is sending out notices to people on their insurance for vehicles,
and you either buy insurance on them or you don't get your license plates. And this has all started kind of hit us on the backside without any warning to it. No advertisement to it at all. And so the problem is you can't put your vehicles in suspension. You can't do anything except buy the insurance or don't get license plates. And so this could also be kind of, it's good in one respect. The people can that don't have insurance has got to come up with it before they can drive their vehicle. But the other respect is if you have a vehicle that you don't use very often, it sits in the shed as a third vehicle or a second vehicle or a farmer or something, this thing, to me, is just making the insurance companies and the state of Idaho rich.
I will look into this, and as a matter of fact, I'm taking notes, and I'll find out more. If I don't do it tomorrow's program, I'll do it the first of the week. Thank you so much for your call. Merry Christmas to you. Thank you.
Give me a call back on it.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. We've got to run to the weather, but first of all, I want to tell you, if you're doing your Christmas shopping today, don't forget, if you're hungry, stop over to Edith's Cafe. Oh, my goodness, the food is fantastic, and they're located at 144 East Highway 81, right across from the golf course in Burley. They're open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 9, and they've got all the delicious sandwiches. They've got all the daily specials. Let me tell you something. Being today, Tuesday, pulled pork sandwiches, barbecued pulled pork sandwiches with a choice of side, and tomorrow they've got the tri-tip. Every day is a special day of great eating at Edith's Cafe. Be sure and stop in or give them a call, 878-2248. Edith's Cafe, 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. They're waiting to serve you. Right now, let's quickly go to the weather forecast as we're running short on time. Scarrows Meats, Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. And you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, for all the great tasting, delicious meats, from the marinated pork ribs to the sausages, the bacons, everything, the brats. It's all phenomenal. It's all delicious from Scarrows Meats in Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Relatively mild conditions for the rest of this week until we get to the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly cloudy skies, but we might see a few rays of sunshine by this afternoon. It's going to be nice and calm with a high of about 40 tonight. The clouds are going to be rolling back in. We are expecting a low of 23. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies with a high of 40, mostly cloudy for tomorrow night. Expecting a low right around 21. Winds are going to be picking up out of the east. For Thursday, mostly cloudy skies, high of 38, overnight low of 23. Clouds are going to stick around for Friday with a high of 42. Friday night, we do have a slight chance of snow showers in the overnight hours, mostly cloudy skies with a low of about 26. Saturday, we do have a 50% chance of precipitation, rain and snow mix. And we are expecting a high of 42. Then by Sunday, slight chance of snow, cloudy with a high near 40. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
And brought to you this hour by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Don Scarrow and the crew, the number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. I'm running a little bit late, and I might say that it was a little difficult to understand Daphne Barak, but she's an outstanding writer, a great filmmaker, and I really wanted to get her on the air talking about this problem going against the Trump administration and her book, To Plea or Not to Plea. Want to mention our great sponsors, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with literally all the tires you need for safe driving, whatever the weather throws at you this winter. Believe me, the snow, the ice, the yuck, the muck, everything, they've got it. All the tread designs, all the different sizes for all your vehicles. Stop in, too. They've got all your tire chains, front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries, and the best in brake service. Absolutely. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best. That's not brag, that's a fact. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Holy Holy moly, gotta run. And remember, we'll be back here tomorrow morning at 8:06. We always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. And the 4 words that mean the most, in God we trust. Merry Christmas. We will see you tomorrow morning at 8:06.